Hello, everyone. This is Lawana Parker, and I am the host and CEO of Courage to Live Your Dream broadcast TV and podcast show. Excited about that. We are a part of the Raven International Media Network, and you can find our show on Roku and Amazon Fire. You can also get us on iHeart and Spotify, Anchor, so just to name a few that I'm okay. I am so pleased today because I have a very special guest, and her name is Michelle Marley Hardeman, and his last name pronounced Guptill or Guptill.
Yeah, Hardiman Guptill.
Guptill. All right, thank you. She is the CEO and founder for the Women of Impact and Influence. We want to pay special attention to her. She's going to share some modern day strategy for you. Now, here's the thing. I like to make my guests feel very special. So I want you to put your hands together and give her a very warm welcome. Welcome, Michelle. And Michelle, we're ready to hear those tips.
Yay! Wonderful. So I started Women of Impact and Influence because I wanted to create a space where women could speak their truth in a very grounded, authentic, and kind of playful way. And to be able to increase their influence and impact in all areas of their lives, their intimate relationships, their business partnerships, and also with their clients. And what I've noticed is that women business owners in particular, they have some unique challenges. And one of the biggest really is visibility. It's the ability to speak their truth, knowing that they're not going to please everybody, putting their people pleaser away in the closet for a little while. And that sometimes they're really great at speaking their truth, let's say in their business, like they know exactly what they do and they have really great language for it. But then they get home and they struggle to express how they feel or what they need in their partnerships. And they kind of bring home like the business suit and play that role in their personal lives, and it doesn't always work for them. Or I see the opposite. Women who are great in their relationships with their families, they have really fluid communication, they're able to express themselves, but they get into a business setting and they back away, or they get worried about whether people are going to receive their information well, or they get kind of scared of that visibility or that role that they have to play, and so they back down and they don't necessarily speak their truth. So my talk at this speaker showcase is actually kind of interesting. It's Embracing the Wild Feminine, a modern day business strategy. And how I came to that is really because of my work as a psychotherapist. The work that I do, I went to school to become a psychotherapist, and the concentration and focus was drama therapy. And drama therapy was all about storytelling and myth and metaphor, and really getting into all of these various roles and parts that we play in our lives. And that we're really comfy in some roles, and we get really uncomfortable in other roles. And health is when we are able to really expand both the number of roles that we play, but also the depth with which we play them. And in my personal journey, the wild feminine or the wild woman archetype has really been pivotal in my ability to claim my power and my strength, and to feel seen and heard in a way that's deeply rooted and grounded and authentic. I used to be that girl who was really big and intense and called a lot of attention to myself because I had so many important things to say, and I felt like nobody was really listening. And so a lot of my behaviors kind of mirrored that, right? Like not feeling heard and not feeling seen, and creating all of these kind of defensive roles to protect myself. And what I discovered was that part of my challenge was that I didn't fit a traditional kind of feminine role. Many of us, at least in my generation, grew up with kind of this ideal of like June Cleaver, right? Of the 1950s housewife who took care of everybody else, and her best friend was the hairdresser and her nail artist, and that was kind of her role. It was pretty clear, it was pretty specific, it was pretty rigid. And I thought that's what feminine meant. And I didn't fit that at all. I was kind of a tomboy. I was really opinionated. I, spoke my truth, and I got shut down a lot for it. And because I didn't see myself reflected in the women around me. And when I was in my 20s, I read the book and heard the audio of Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Jungian psychoanalyst, and is all about archetypes. She introduced me to the wild woman, and it was like lightning struck and the light bulb went off, and I realized that was me, that I kind of embodied that wild feminine archetype. And the wild feminine archetype has actually been really damaged in our society. Wild feminine archetype is kind of that, I'm going to play by my own rules, and I'm really in touch with nature and my own intuition, kind of a wolf, very passionate, very sensual, very embodied. And a lot of those qualities have not only been devalued, but they've actually been damaged in so many women. We've been told that those are dangerous qualities. Those are qualities that invite attack, or qualities that scare people or make people uncomfortable, and therefore we shouldn't embody those qualities. We should go back to June Cleaver and take care of everybody and be the people pleaser. What I know about myself and many of the women entrepreneurs that I've met is we're risk takers. We're natural risk takers. Are shaking, we push through these barriers that we get confronted with, especially as women in the business world. The current business paradigm is masculine. That's what it was created in. But that doesn't mean that we can't step into that paradigm fully as ourselves. We don't have to pretend to be men. We don't have to put our hair up in a bun and put on our severe pantsuit and our glasses and pretend to be something that we're not. We can be emotional creatures and reach people on a heart level, on a relationship level, on a connection level. We can be our sensual selves. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of wearing tank tops underneath all of my shirts. Just pretend that I'm not female, right? That I don't have these breasts, I want to be able to be comfortable in my clothing and in my own skin. I want to be able to speak my opinion and have it heard and not discounted. I would like to be able to be in an emotional state with without someone asking me if I'm menstruating. I would like to be able to help other women really step into this wild feminine archetype that has been so devalued and squashed and demonized, and bring it back. Because I feel like we need that balance in our world. We need the fierce feminine. We need this kind of embodied creature who is not living from up here. I can't tell you how many women I meet who are living from their heads up. And it's like, oh, I have a body? That's right, I have this thing, right? And a lot of our wisdom comes from our body. It doesn't come from up here. This is kind of how the masculine does it, right? The masculine is very focused and directed and clear, and that's beautiful and that's wonderful, and we all have access to that, and we all need that. And many of us think that that's really the only place to live. The reality is that for women, we're embodied creatures. Forgotten that. And when we can drop back inside into our bodies in this really connected way, we are able to come up with our most creative, juicy, amazing ideas. We're able to stop and speak from our heart, which sounds so different than when someone is speaking from their head, when they're speaking from story, rather than really coming into what they're feeling and what's happening right now in this current moment. Business is changing. Our world is changing. We're no longer this extreme binary of this is masculine and this is feminine. But the feminine has been so devalued that part of my message is to find a way to bring her back in, no matter what your gender is, to bring those qualities of the wild feminine in, because she can really support all of us, no matter what our gender is. She can support all of us to push past our fears, to question the status quo, to stand up for ourselves and others, to really stop and listen inside rather than letting other people tell us what to do or how we should run our business or whatever. They're really important skills that I feel like we, in some ways, have lost. Mm. So a lot of my talk is going to be around, what is the wild feminine? How do we lose her? And why is she so important to bring back at this exact moment in time? I'll be sharing a little bit about my personal journey of how I lost her as well, how I was this kind of wild little creature, and through family and through trauma and through society, those pieces of me got locked down, and I kind of forgot that I had access to her, and I became very small and very shy and very withdrawn and internal and untrusting of myself and the world. And so I'll be sharing a little bit about that journey, and I'll also be giving some very specific kind of wild feminine tools and practices, and we'll be playing with some of those in the workshop as well. So I have a 45-minute spot, and I'm going to do my best because I love to do things in a very experiential, felt sense way. So I don't like to spend a lot of time talking. I like to spend time having people get up and have an experience, because that's what embodiment is. It's being able to step outside of just thinking about it or just writing about it and actually like bringing it back home into the body and playing with it. And so I want to bring some play and some fun into the workshop and really give some very specific concrete tools for how we can take this archetype and step into her and know what that feels like and what that looks like and what that sounds like for us. It's going to be different for everybody. So that when we're struggling and we're afraid to do an interview or a Facebook Live because we're worried that someone might not like what we have to say, or somebody might attack us, or someone might sexualize us, or someone might, throw shade at us, or whatever it is, that we can kind of access this wild feminine quality and be able to push through that because we know deep in our bones that we have something important to say, that what we have to say feels like truth deep, deep in our bones. And we need to say it. And so I want to arm women with as many tools as possible, especially in this business world, as we start growing and may even overtake the entrepreneurial world, to be able to really, to feel protected and safe and authentic and clear, and to be able to use our language in a way that creates impact and influence in all settings. So the work that I do is kind of split in two different categories. One is relationship in general, intimate relationships, partnerships, business partnerships, things like that. So how do we communicate effectively what we're thinking and feeling, or what we need and want? And the other side is really more story coaching. It's helping people share their story, their business story, why they do what they do. And so I do a lot of story coaching and working with entrepreneurs around, again, getting out of their head so that they can really speak about what they do from a deeply rooted, grounded, authentic place. And the work that I do is super fun. And at the same time, it's challenging. I only really take on clients who are willing to push their own edges so that they can get the best results possible. And I do that in the most fun way I can. And growth is uncomfortable. So we'll all hit that stage, even when it's fun, where it gets a little, a little scary. And the wild feminine is a way for me personally to be able to access my courage and do it anyway, even when my knees are shaking and even when I'm afraid. So that's kind of basically what I do. Yes, I have a private practice, but in this realm, when I do speaking, I'm really focused much more on kind of coaching and motivational speaking and really working with women entrepreneurs and finding their story. A story that really highlights their why. Why is it that they do what they do, and why are they so passionate about it? And how do they articulate that in a way that feels really good to them, feels really authentic and grounded? And so I'll be offering some tips around that as well. And probably the best place really to find out more about me is to go to my website. I recently changed my name from Feminine Rising Revolution to Women of Impact and Influence. So my website is still femininerisingrevolution.com. But once you get there, you'll see that it says Women of Impact and Influence. That was a decision that I made because I really wanted it to be clear that this is not about men versus women. It isn't about the masculine versus the feminine. I love men. I have many noble-hearted men in my life. I believe in the masculine. We need that energy. We need that balance between the two. And so the Feminine Rising Revolution felt a little too intense for some people. So I wanted it really to be much more about like women deserve to have influence and impact. And we haven't in many ways. And so I feel called to help women increase their skills in that area so that they can have as much impact and influence as possible and balance out the masculine.
Well, I am so glad that you are bringing back the feminine because I love being female.
Yes.
And I love men. That's plain and simple. I love men. So I'm glad you're doing this. Uh, I like being a strong woman. And I like knowing that I can take care of myself. But there's something about that man who's on the side, on standing beside me, not in front of me or behind me, but standing there with me, sharing and saying, "I've got your back."
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I'm
And
so doing this.
yeah, I feel like it's, that's been my own personal journey too, I wasn't connected to the feminine most of my life. And I thought I was supposed to be kind of masculine in order to get stuff done or in order to be powerful or whatever it meant. And that really showed up in my relationships.
Mhm.
Now that I have really come to an understanding of what my power actually is and how I don't have to force it, I just have to be it. Like that's all I have to do is be it. And my husband is the perfect counter for me. He has my back 100%. He has all of those noble qualities. He's my protector. He's my provider. He treats me like a queen. He is an amazing man who can handle a strong woman because we communicate and because we have each other's backs and because we're open about our own process and what's happening. And it's such a beautiful experience to be in relationship with a healthy man who really values my strength, who doesn't only value it, but really like shouts it from the rooftops. It's such a beautiful and powerful thing to have a man behind me who is just like, you shine, you rock it, you go do your thing, oh, it's beautiful, beautiful.
I was trying to keep from laughing when you were talking about June Cleaver because I grew up. It was June Cleaver. There was her name in the Father Knows Best. I forget her name now. Margaret, I think it was. Then there was Donna Reed and Harriet and Ozzy. There were so many of them. And that's kind of what I was thinking as I was growing up, that to make my husband happy, I needed to be like those women.
Right.
Pretty much. Uh, in fact, throughout our marriage, that was me.
Yeah.
Even though I was working, when I came home, I was still dressed. When I went to my kids' games, I was still dressed. So, and I guess it kind of stuck with me. But I still kind of
Yeah. And it's, again,
say,
it's not that we can't do it,
yeah.
because many of us have,
Hmm.
but at what cost? At what cost do we have to play all of those roles at the same time? And when do we get to just be who we are and how we feel and, present with what's really happening for us? And that's the piece for me. It's that I'm not going to do these things for my husband, and I'm not going to dress up for him sometimes, and I'm not going to cook him a great meal, and I'm not going to, it's not about that. For me, it's about the fact that I have choice. Some days where I'm not going to do that, and that's okay.
I remember when my grandson graduated from high school, and I looked at him and my husband, and I said, "Everybody is grown in the house now. Don't look for me to be cooking.
Right?
Y'all take care of your own
I'm
meals."
stepping into a new role.
I thought they were raised a big stink about it, but they didn't. They were actually very supportive, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a big and important piece right there that you're speaking to is the fact that we have a lot of unwritten expectations within ourselves that have kind of been implanted because of these images or stereotypes that we've had about the feminine. And the reality is that men want us to be happy. They want us to be who we are, and that it's really us. We kind of hang up ourselves a lot. And while, yes, we have to fight against some things out there that are still unfair and that still, keep us tethered or whatever it may be, we also have to do that work inside of ourselves and recognize that sometimes we're getting in our own way and that people don't have the expectations of us that we think they do.
Yeah, one of the things I did uh, over the years was when I worked, and I was in many different organizations, did a number of things. But when I came home, everything else stayed out. I didn't bring it in with me,
Yeah.
and I limit as to who could come to my house because I didn't want junk in there. I want when we were at home, it needed to have some harmony, some balance there, and so that was how I handled
Yeah.
that
And that's
time.
beautiful. I know many women who can't do that, who do bring it home. And it's a real struggle for them to kind of like take off the uniform or take off the persona and really drop back into being their feminine selves at home.
Right. Yeah. I remember my children asking me how come I didn't have people over all the time like some of their friends did. I said, because I'm with people all day. I'm in the organization. I'm with them all the time. When I come home, you need me. I need you. I don't need anyone coming in and disrupting that harmony. So
Beautiful.
that was how I got through my
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
years of raising my children and whatnot. And I don't know, maybe that helped with because my husband and I we were together for over 6 years. You know, and you have to do what you need to do to make things work out. So I am
Yeah.
so glad that you are bringing this back because I think there's a lot of women who need it. They don't know. They miss the June Cleaver. They miss that part. They only know that I am woman, hear me roar. You know?
Yes.
So,
Yes. And that's the other side of the spectrum, right? And I'll be
right.
talking
Uh-huh.
to.
It's
Yeah.
okay to roar, but hey, it's nice to have that guy there too.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So, well, before we leave, I've enjoyed having you here. And I thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for sharing this. Um, but I'd like you to again tell us how we can reach you because I know there are women out there who want to be in touch with you. They may not be able to come to our event. And let me say this because I don't want to forget. Michelle is going to be speaking at the California Business Showcase. That's on August 31st, and it's in Fairfield, 1350 Holiday Lane at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel. So you want to be there. I hope that you all come and especially to hear what she has to say. But if you can't, Michelle, how can they reach you?
Yes. So you can visit my website, femininerisingrevolution.com. And there is a tab with upcoming events on there. I have a handful of just kind of fun downloads that you can do. I have a How Connected Are You to Your Wild Businesswoman assessment. I have a self-diagnosis chakra guide, which helps you kind of see where you're stuck or blocked and be able to have some practices to bring yourself back to center. I have a Truth Telling 101 document that really breaks down effective truth telling so that you're not going to one extreme, which is like, I'm going to speak my truth whether you want to hear it or not, and I'm going to be in your face about it, versus not speaking your truth at all out of fear and kind of finding that healthy middle ground. It's actually what I use as the template for a workshop. So it's a valuable piece of information. And you can also reach me via email at michelle@femininerisingrevolution.com. Those are probably the two easiest ways to reach me. And yeah, there's lots of information on my website. You can kind of poke around in there and see what's of interest to you. Please feel free to reach out to me via email at any time if you have any questions, if you'd like me to speak somewhere, if you'd like me to teach a workshop or anything like that. I love teaching, and I love presenting and speaking. It's one of my favorite things. And so, yeah, please come to the site.
Woman after my own heart. I probably need to run over there just to remind me what it is to be female in today's world. Well, again, Michelle, thank you for coming on and sharing these pivots. I know there's going to be so much more at the showcase, speakers showcase. So I'm encouraging all of you to go hear Michelle and some of the other speakers who will be on stage that day. I myself will be there as well, and I will be speaking on Courage to Live Your Dream. So please take the opportunity to learn when you have so many wonderful speakers in one place.
Yeah,
it's well worth it. As I tell people, doesn't matter how many workshops you go to, you always learn something new every time.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
okay. Well, Michelle, we thank you once more for being on the show and look forward to being there with you on the 31st. And it's just exciting. So thank you. And
Thank
we're going to sign up, everyone. We're so glad that you joined us. Got some wonderful information from her because she gave some great tips here today for us. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, this is Luana Parker, and I am the host and CEO of Courage to Live Your Dream. I'm so excited because today I have Joyce Blue on here with me, and Joyce is the CEO of Empowering You. She is going to share with us some tips that I know you're going to be thrilled to have. So please pay attention, get your pens and pencil out, and as I always like to say, put your hands together and just give her a really rousing, warm welcome. Joyce, you got the floor, girl.
Hi, Luana. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here with you, and I am also very excited about the California event that's coming up. So it's going to be awesome. And I am going to be helping people with money mindset. So, yeah.
I hear about that.
Yeah. So, you know, women don't relate to finances or money like men do. It's a totally different energy. It's a very masculine energy. And for a long time, I taught people, you know, the XYZ of how to get out of debt or how to, you know, be more empowered with their finances, kind of like Dave Ramsey teaches. And about 6 years ago, I found the neuroscience piece, and it was a huge light bulb moment as to why some of my clients, I could teach them to get out and they would stay out of debt, and others right back in again, some of them even worse than previously. And it all has to do with our underlying limiting beliefs.
You know, I told my audience that I had lost my husband earlier this year. And one of the things that I failed to do was to talk to him about our financial situation.
Hmm.
And I have since then been encouraging women, especially if you know that your husband is in a terminal medical situation, to make sure the finances are straightened out, because that's what happened to me. I didn't talk to him about it because he was the man. I think he took care of those things, and I discovered he hadn't.
Yeah.
So I am all ears to what you have to share with us. What are some?
That, yeah, that's so common. Usually one person or the other in a relationship is more responsible financially. And so they usually take on the responsibility of, making sure things are taken care of. And sometimes when it's the man and the woman thinks he's taking care of things, and unfortunately later then they find out that he's not. So it's always good, even if you do have a responsible partner, to be really aware of your financial situation, where things are, how they're going. Even if it's just a quick chat once a week for a few minutes to, catch up on things, make decisions together. A lot of times, the other kind of side of that is one person takes care of everything because that's what they feel that they're good at, but then they don't share the information with their partner, and the partner becomes bitter or has a lot of angst or negative feelings towards that. And one thing with your finances is it's like air. When you don't have enough, that's all you think about. And we want to have good energy and good thoughts, more positivity towards those situations, even if we don't have a lot of abundance at this point in our life. It's very important.
So someone who, let's say someone in my particular situation, because I am, you might as well say, recreated my life.
Mm-hmm.
How would you suggest, just a little tip, because we want people to come hear you speak at the event,
Right.
but to share a little something that might titillate us and give us some idea of what we could do in the meantime?
Well, there are tons of different things that you can do. And one of them, like I said, is if your partner is still around, have those important conversations. That's super important. The other thing I'm going to throw out there is, we've always been taught that knowledge is power. And I am going to tell you that knowledge is not power. But if you come to the event, I'll tell you what is.
Oh, wow. Well, definitely want to hear that, because yes, I've always heard that knowledge is power. And I've got tons of books around here that I've read, and unfortunately, most of them are romance, because I love that kind of stuff. But yes, finance, I have discovered that even a responsible person, and my husband was very responsible. He made sure the bills were paid and things like that. And most of the time, he would give me the money and say, you can take care of the bills. But I never thought about talking to him about that. And then when he really got sick, I hesitated, because to me, it seemed like, well, I know this is terminal. There was no turning around. And to try to push that on him when he was struggling and going through so much pain, I just felt like I was being selfish. And so I didn't say anything, because I felt, well, he knew this eventually would happen. And so he probably had taken care of everything that needed to be taken care of. Only I discovered, no, that wasn't the case. So I don't want that to happen to any other woman out there, or man for that matter, because sometimes
Right.
men find themselves in that situation.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, unfortunately, that's an all too common situation where one thinks that the other one's taken care of everything, or left passwords or left account information, and it's just not there.
Right.
So,
So um, how long have you actually been doing this? Did you find yourself in a similar type situation that caused you to get into this?
Yeah, I had my dad was an entrepreneur, and so I was very empowered with finances from an early age. He taught us a lot about money. Your word is your bond, your credit score is just as important, all sorts of different stuff like that. He came from a very stressed childhood. His parents were not financially well off, but he really wanted a better life for himself. And I talk a little bit about that during my talk. And he just was fabulous role model. I did fall in the hole several times and dug myself out using those principles again that I was taught, and kind of refined them and tweaked them and added my own twist on some things. And like I said, when I found the neuroscience piece, then that was the huge thing that really have allowed my clients to make those shifts and not only move forward, but stay in a forward path financially, to more financial abundance in their life and in their businesses.
Well, I know he must be very proud of you because you are doing a great job on what you stepped out on the platform for. It takes a lot of courage to do that, and I applaud you for that. And quickly, I just want to say that this program is part of the uh, Ravens International Media Network. And you may see us over on Amazon Fire, but in the meantime, you can catch us on YouTube and Anchor and Spotify and a few other of the podcasts. So make sure that you tune in, and we will even be on Facebook. Before we close out, I would like to give you a chance to share with us um, how can people find out more besides the event, because as we know, not everyone can come,
right,
for good reason. Not good enough far as I'm concerned, but some people have good reason as to why they can't make, and so they may want to get in touch with you, find out if there's something that you could do to help them. So how can they reach you?
so you can reach out to me at Joyce, Joyce, at empoweringulec.com. And if you reach out, I have a special gift for you. You can also find me on Facebook or Instagram at either facebook.com or instagram.com/empoweringuLEC.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, Joyce, I've enjoyed having you on here. Uh, you're a woman who has some great words and pearls of wisdom to share with us, but you're not long-winded. That is unusual because I thought you were just going to go, but I'm sure the audience will love you, girl. I really wish I had met you before, because I think you would have made such a big difference. But as they say, it's never too late.
That's right.
I look
Thank
forward
you
to
so much for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you were able to come on. So again, for those of you who want to reach out to her, you can contact her at, you better say that because I don't want to mess it up.
That's okay.
Empowering You.
Yeah, Joyce, Joyce, at empoweringuLEC.com.
Thank you. And we will make sure that that information is posted with this, so that if you didn't have that pencil as I asked you to, you'll still be able to get that information. Joyce, thank you so much for being a part of our program this evening. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Luana. Thank you as well.
And you're welcome.